Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
Welcome to Learning World, the show taking you around the globe, putting education under the spotlight. This week we're focusing on technology. More precisely, we'll be looking at some of the ways the internet is bringing about a rethink of education. In Sweden, an innovative global network is engaging teachers as well as students to stay connected. We speak to an e-expert in the UK who's shown that young children in India can figure out the internet without any prior instruction. And our first report, we're going to zoom in on that story and head to the New Delhi slum outside the Indian capital, where the experiments first began.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
If you install a computer in an Indian slum, surprisingly enough, the kids learn how to use it all on their own. This principle drives the Hole in the Wall organisation, which has to date installed 500 computers across India, Africa, Cambodia and Bhutan.
Our target audience typically is 8 to 14 years, and this is where maximum dropout happens. So we want to arrest that problem. Whatever the teacher gives them, some math calculation, they come here and start working on a galactic multiplication.
8 fingers.
According to them, it's edutainment. It's fun, all right? Because schooling is very boring. Most of the softwares are in English. So whatever they see, they start to pronounce that.
This is the living room. The chair is in the living room.
Typically, they start saying, oh, mouse, click. A child absorbs everything.
Is made of tiles.
The learning methodology used by Hole in the Wall is known as minimally invasive education. Facilitators only help children understand the English commands.
My grandmother's name is
Reshma has been working here for 2 years.
3 or 4 girls. How many girls? 4.
I lived just near here 10 years ago and I saw this station when it was built. I was curious and this is how I learnt to use the computer.
Rubina, 17, has been playing and learning here for 10 years.
I was 7 when I first came here and now I feel confident working on computers and I want to study hardware and software. I want to become an engineer.
More than 300,000 children have become computer literate since the project started. You could say it's child's play.
Professor Sugata Mitra is the man behind the Hole in the Wall. Our team met him at Newcastle University in the UK, where he told us a little more about the early days of the experiment.
It's now over a decade since Professor Sugata Mitra first installed a computer in a New Delhi slum. Mitra believes that children and the internet are made for each other.
What I was trying to find out was what would a child do if confronted with a computer who, had never seen one before.
This is the most recent bit. Okay. So what are you trying to learn?
The results were surprising.
On the first day, when you put in a computer, you get a huge crowd of children. And they come and they're pushing and shoving and fighting and so on. Nothing productive happens. The little bullies, usually 10-year-old boys, 11-year-old boys, they capture the machine. Once they've got their hands on the computer, luckily for us, the 10-year-olds can't figure out anything, certainly not the bullies. So they say after a while this is useless, it doesn't work properly. At which point 8 and 9-year-olds move in and they're all born hackers. They press everything on the computer and through trial and error and discussion amongst themselves they start to make progress. But still there is a lot of noise. Around the end of the first week, something very interesting happens. Girls in the age of 10 to 12-year-olds invent administration and management. And they literally invent it because there's no adult around. So they say, look, nobody's going to get a chance. So we're going to do, 2 hours for the girls, 2 hours for the boys, etc., etc. They start policing the place. And then the real learning begins. And within 3 months, 300 children would become computer literate with one computer.
For Sugata Mitra, the classroom could one day be a thing of the past. And in Sweden, the classroom as we know it is undergoing a dramatic change, with teachers and students getting connected to global education networks.
In this Swedish school, not only are chalkboards a thing of the past, but pens and paper could soon be history too. Their teaching is centred around laptops.
We're trying to put everything on the computer so we don't need as many books and make the learning part easier.
This is an experiment launched by Microsoft. 12 tutor schools are training 30 Pathfinder schools.
Coach program, which means that you train teachers how to train each other. You coach each other, especially towards using computers as a tool for lessons. Secondly, there are meetings. Microsoft invites all these schools on conferences, 2-3 days, somewhere in one of those schools, where teachers involved, principals, school management, meet, exchange ideas.
The social network e-twinning, for example, is used to exchange information on schools.
All students at our schools have different schedules, even though they go in the same class. They can plan and choose the subjects they want.
Escuchar, por favor. Ahora vamos a escuchar una canción. La presentación de los ejercicios.
The presentation of the exercises is more fun for the students because we don't handwrite them. They all use the multimedia environment. This makes language learning more attractive.
Que lo hace más atractivo.
YouTube, laptops and a Spanish pop song. What better way to learn the language?
If you'd like to view any of our stories again, you can find them on our website at euronews.net/learningworld. But that's all we've got time for from Doha this week. But join us next week for more stories from Learning World.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.